Welcome back to WTF MCP. I'm Jay Shalansky. That's Tim France, and we're ready to go.
We are.
Yeah. I love how you're shaking your head no at first. You're like, nah. I
I
guess
don't
we
know.
are. Yeah. Yeah. So on this very special episode, it's spenders, gainers, and what's the last one, Tim? Spenders, gainers,
And builders.
builders. Oh
Oh
my.
my.
Yeah. So I've been going to these tournaments. I'm a new player. I listened to us and I got my core set. I got the starter set, whatever I got. I saw this, I saw an affiliation battle happening at my local store. I went and some guy goes, "What are your spenders?" And I had no idea what that meant. Let's
Yeah,
talk
so
about the words that people use to describe things in MCP. So
and those kind of are the big three, right? So you have builders, gainers, and spenders. And that's vernacular that's not in the rule book.
yep.
It's purely from the community. But as we talked about in the first episode, power
Yep.
is the main resource of the game, and it's so important. And you get it from doing so many things, and you spend it on so many things. So every character has a couple different attacks. Normally, not everybody. There are some exceptions out there.
Yep.
Have either a builder or a gainer. A builder is an attack that normally costs no power, but you receive power equal to the damage you deal.
Yep.
A gainer doesn't care if you do damage or not. You're going to get a little bit of power from it, and it will be a little bit, but it'll be every
Yeah.
time.
It's generally one.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now there are some kind of like weird hybrids out there. Iron Man,
Yeah.
a couple different versions of them actually have this, where it's like, hey, if you do damage, you get that much power. If you don't worry about it. We'll still give you one just for
Yeah.
participating.
Yeah.
And then spenders are normally kind of the big, super displays of power. They cost power to do. Some people call them ultimates. Some people call them spenders. Some people call them, the dope stuff that I really want to do very badly.
Yeah.
But spenders are, your other attack profile. That's normally some just over the top. You're blasting something. You're throwing dudes into other dudes while punching them and stabbing them at the same time. Like these are what you're building for to make sure that you're,
Yeah.
taking other characters out.
And it's really interesting, right? Because the way it's designed, you have the power phase, and so you generally get one power. Some characters get two, some get three, like depending
Mm-hmm.
on the character. I think that's just, does it go? I don't know if it goes much higher than
I
that.
think that's the highest it goes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so, I think one of the things that's interesting and still catches me off guard is if we're like round two, round three, a bunch of stuff has happened, and then all of a sudden it feels like there's a character that just it's been its turn for what feels like forever.
Yeah. Yep.
And understanding how that happened through these builders, gainers, and spenders, is key to
Uh,
some of the success of your experience with this game.
Very much so, and it should be for both players too, right? So one of the things that we've talked about on a couple different episodes here is that power just constantly happens. Whether you're being attacked, whether you're attacking, you're building up that power throughout the game. So you could have a round, you go into round two and you just get absolutely slammed.
Yeah.
All of your characters just get, their lights punched out. But in round three, when they come back after being injured, they're stocked up on power, just pockets full of it. Like fanny packs, no longer able to be zipped, just filled with power.
Yeah.
And that's when you have those opportunities to have a character like Beta Ray Bill, right? Who is going to attack and then get some re-rolls, and he's going to throw somebody, and then he's
Yep.
going to attack with a different spender, and he's going to go over here. You have characters with charges, all sorts of stuff. So like when you come back after being injured or flipped, like you're going to have probably a pretty great turn, especially
Yep.
if you have priority and you're actually able to get the opportunity to spend all that power.
Yeah, and there's things to look out for, like I forgot which the name of the Captain America, the one that lets his associates spend one less on on
Yeah, OG cap.
spenders. OG cap, yeah. So he has a power that once per turn, I can use one of my spenders, one of my superpowers, and I spend one less power in order to kick it off. So, somebody like Hulk loves that because Hulk's got a gamma leap, so he can jump, then he can hit you a couple times, then he could throw a building at you, then he could, like there's all this stuff, and it feels unfair the first like few times you're playing the game. And I think it's because as a new player, you don't know that you can do the same thing. You're not
Right.
thinking of the game in that way. You're thinking of it more linear as action, action. So, oh, I'm going to either move, or I'm going to attack, or I'm going to move, attack. And then you're like, oh, I have all this other stuff I can do. But, I think as a newer player, conserving your power resource is always a delicate balance.
Mhm.
And you're like, oh man, I wish I could do that. And then after you play a few games, you're like, oh yeah, I can do
Oh,
that.
I can do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and there's a power cap too, right? So power kind of burns a hole in your pocket a little bit.
Yes.
Like if you're close to 10 power, you're like, well, I might as well spend it because I'm probably going to take some damage later, and I'll get
Right.
more power for that. There's
Yep.
also another power phase coming up. There could be crises that give you power as
Right.
well.
Yep.
So listen, yeah, just spend it. They're just scratch offs in your pocket. Just get rid of all that power.
Yeah.
And I think Hulk is a great example of being able to kind of like break the speed limit of activations because he gets his 2 actions, but he has a gamma leap, which is a range 2 place. He has a throw
Yep.
that's not an attack, and on his spender he has throws.
Yep.
So in a single activation, Hulk can move, he can throw somebody, he can attack twice, and potentially throw both of the targets of those attacks as well.
Yep.
So it's a lot of displacement. Which is very good. And Beta Ray Bill, similar things there.
Yep.
You have characters that Daredevil can
Yep.
spend to just punch you again because he's real mad about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Or like I think him and Cyclops both have powers that like if I attack them, they can just attack me back.
Yeah. So and it works a little bit different for both of them, but like yeah, Cyclops has this ability called Quick Draw, where if you're outside melee range, because Cyclops is kind of a ranged expert,
Yep.
if you're shooting or throwing something at him, he's going to get a lot of extra defense at it. If Bullseye's throwing some paper clips, he's going to try to blast those out of the air and then do some damage back to Bullseye.
Yeah. Yeah, it's super cool. And, there's a lot of, each character has their own flavor. And taking a look at those builders, spenders, and the other one fell on my head.
Gainers.
Gainers, when you're looking at your character to kind of understand how you're going to map out an activation, I think is really important, and a lot of times getting more power than your measly morsels that you get during the power phase is going to mean getting into the action with a lot of those characters. Some of them can do it from range, but there's definitely some that need to get within one or two to like really mix it up. And so I think that's something like in my head that took a while to kind of grasp coming from other games was, oh no, it's okay if they get hit.
Yeah.
Like that's okay because it's gonna like I'll earn some power and then I'll be able to do I'll be able to finally do something. Yeah.
It's one of those great things about this game where like you might have a very important piece that absolutely gets clobbered, but in the back of your mind it's like, yo, I'm gonna shoot so many lasers next round now.
Yeah.
Like
I will say, yeah, and I tell everybody this, and this is I think this is the perfect kind of episode to talk about this because power is the reason for it, is that unlike other games where if I have a round, like even a round one where I really move Cap up or somebody up, and then my opponent comes in and just like wallops him and just one shots him and dazes what it means that before you flip to your wounded side. You know, for a moment I'm really upset. Like I go, oh no. And then I'm like, oh wait, how many wounds did you do? And they're like, oh, I did 5. And you're like, well, that's 5 power I've got for
mhm.
next turn. And I'm gonna flip this card over and some some shit is gonna hit the fan. I'll tell
Yeah,
you
get
that
ready to
much.
get Hulk smashed.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
you and all your friends.
Yeah. And so, I think that's the great thing about power, is the ability to gain it from getting wounds, the ability to gain it from just hitting somebody and doing what you should be doing anyways. Because, the whole economy of MCP is based off of your power and spending
Mhm.
it, picking up extracts, power. Some
Yep.
of your secures you got to interact with, power. Like
Yep.
there's stuff.
Your tactics cards.
Your tactics cards need
Like, yeah,
power.
do one of those. You want to have Hulk smash a building, put it on his fist, and then punch you with it. Like,
Yeah.
it takes a little bit of power, but
Right.
it's super worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, you want to heal up somebody. You want somebody else to take the hit for this character,
Hmm.
if somebody wants to throw a building at you, you can nope them and you could be like,
Correct.
yeah, like, nah, I don't think so.
You want to
Uh
point at that guy over there and say, like, I don't like that guy. He
yeah,
needs to die.
yeah.
Everyone, let's fight him.
Yeah. Or hey, everybody, give me all your power, and I'm going to use my satellite to blow this guy off the table. That
I'm
might
just
be one of
borrowing
my
it. Just
favorites.
borrowing
Yeah,
your
yeah.
power.
Just let me show you what I could do. If you just give me a couple of them power beans.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so just paying attention to that. So if somebody says they're doing their builder, it generally means their standard attack, and they're going to get a power for every wound that they do. If
Mhm.
someone says they're doing their
Gainer.
gainer, I keep wanting to say earner, but
Yeah, right.
it's gainer. Gainer. It means they're doing an attack that they spent power for, but they're guaranteed to get probably one power back.
Oh, they
Um,
usually don't spend for gainers. They're normally free.
some gainers
Yeah.
to get one. Really?
Yeah.
Some most of mine are costs. Anyways, on my characters. No. Anyway,
Well, and then
yes.
there's the spenders, which normally
Right.
don't gain power at all, but at least for
Right.
you. But
So
you do punch
gainers,
someone into the ground for it.
yeah, gainers, you get a power, which, no matter what happens, and then spenders, you've got to spend to do anything.
Mhm.
So pretty good.
But those are once again normally the super dope. Those are your secret attacks. Those are your special moves. Those are
Right.
your listen. You hit all the Mortal Kombat inputs correctly, and
Yeah.
you punch someone and then throw them into someone else.
Right. And if you're listening to this and you've never played before, that can be anything. So spenders could be on, let's say, Iron Man, it's like this really wicked laser that he can shoot multiple people in a beam with.
Mhm.
But it could also be like some like special ability that he has too, that you have to spend power to in order to like do it,
Yeah, yeah. For superpowers, yes,
yeah.
power is an incredibly important resource there. Like a lot of your character flavor and like kind of ability outside of like I attack things is going to be in those
Yeah.
superpowers, both offensively and reactively.
Yeah, and it's just, oh, it's such a great system. The
It
power
really is.
system is so good.
It's so simple too, right? It's
Yeah.
only one thing. You're gaining one resource, but you're using it for so many things and it has so many
Yeah.
implications. Like it flows so well.
It's like this, it's like, I don't maybe they did it on purpose, but it's like they tapped into like how money works.
Yeah.
It's just money. Money's the same. You say a dollar, we all know what a dollar is, right?
Mhm.
And like what the value of that is, what I can get for a dollar. I mean, not much these days, but
You can't even get a McDouble for it
ah,
anymore.
dude, I know. Yeah. God. But what you can do for that dollar, and power is exactly the same way, and it just becomes this great resource. Um, yeah, it's wild. It's wild how well this game works. And you would think, one of the big things, and maybe we'll talk about this in a future episode, but like one of the big things that every war game, every tabletop miniatures game has a problem with is power creep.
Mhm.
But because everyone has power creep in this game,
Yep.
no one does. It's like that guy from The Incredibles when he's like, if everyone's super, then no one is.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah. Not a villain, by the
Yeah.
way. But yeah.
Yeah. And so with that, and they've been very good at doing like erratas with print and plays. So, I mean, I
Yeah.
highly, again, I know I recommend this every like at basically every episode, but go to their website. You can print and play the new crisis cards. You can print and play the new stat cards for characters.
Yeah.
So like if there's a character you're thinking about buying, and you don't know yet, just go print their stat card and use another mini at home, as like, and just see how it feels, and then go buy it.
Mhm.
Like
Well,
it's
and
that
it's
easy.
super great too. They don't do character erratas all the time. So like you don't have if you
Right.
haven't played in a couple months, you probably don't have to worry about looking for an update. They
Yep.
happen like literally every other year,
Yep.
and they normally affect a ton of characters. So if you have a character that you really like, it's one of your favorites, you love the stories they're in, and they're just a little lackluster, especially after this last character update, where pretty much every character that I've ever cared about got like a huge glow up and is super
Yep.
useful now.
Yep.
Um, Chances are it's going to come around for them, and you're going to
Yeah.
be able to get that character card for free, print it off, and you're good to go.
Yeah. For sure. 100%. 100%. So, yeah. I mean, Tim, I think we kind of got that covered. Is there anything else you want to leave us on as far as spenders, builders, and gainers?
Uh, yeah. So big special condition. A lot of characters are immune to it, but stun. If you really
Oh,
want to limit someone's power generation, if you really want to shut down someone from getting that overwhelming
yeah.
inertia to just obliterate you in response, stun is a great way to do it. If you
Yeah.
apply stun to somebody, whenever they gain power, they only gain one, regardless of how much they should gain.
Yeah. And that seems I know what you're thinking because I thought the same thing. You at home, you're sitting there going, all my guys only gain one anyways. Aha. But there's some that don't.
That's right.
So that is, and just in case they may be able to gain more through somebody else's power or something. Yeah, stun is dope.
That's how you deal with Asgard. That's how you bring them back down to the human level. You put
Yep.
stun on them, and all of a sudden they're gaining just as much as everybody
Yeah,
else.
yeah, that's right. Yeah. But all right. Well, cool. I think we covered that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, great. Well, hey everybody, thanks again for listening. That was very powerful conversation we
There you
just
go.
had. All right. Well, thanks, Tim. Uh
Absolutely.
and thanks folks for watching. We'll see you next week.